So a quick intro here. We did the Zelda side quest, not side quest, that quest thing. And at this point, you're coming back to the town, and you'll find that you're supposed to get the sword and shield, but we don't, like, the flags are messed up, and we don't have the sword and shield. Like, the town is just, like, in a mess. So, we're gonna have to do something else.
And it's kind of hilarious.
Yes. It's also probably the hardest trick in the run in its entirety. Like, this, I swear I spent 40 to 50 hours on. Like, before work, I would just spend, 8 to 10 before I would get in my car and go to work. Just doing this trick constantly, trying to get it down.
Yeah, I had to make him cut out, like, an entire video of just this.
Yup. It's just, you'll see what it is, but basically, we're gonna lure this enemy over to it. And there's a trick you can do with an enemy, and targeting, L targeting or whatever, Z targeting, I forget what it's even called. But when you're targeting on an enemy and you do a jump attack, you'll go super far. So right now, here's the trigger that would say, would trigger Midna saying, you're a weird poopy head, you need the sword and shield. We're gonna push this enemy beyond the trigger, target him, and boom. You have no fucking idea where that is. Just an explanation, you need a very specific camera angle, and you don't have a C-stick on the Wii controls. The way you get a very specific camera angle is just by getting yourself into that angle. Love this.
Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling.
Anyway, yeah, you get yourself into the camera angle, and you press Z and hold it. And with an enemy nearby, it's usually going to target the enemy instead. So there's a whole mess of things that you have to do, and it's just going to take a while. And the timing has to be perfect, the camera angle has to be perfect, the enemy manipulation has to be perfect. So, yeah, even though we have the sword and shield on us, that was just sort of the models that are there. It's not really there in our inventory.
Right. That was really funny right at the end there, though.
Yeah. Sorry, that's just me ranting about the sword and shield trick, because it took forever. Yeah, so it's called the sword and shield skip, and it is applicable in a main run. It does actually save 5 minutes. It's just really hard to do. It's actually a bit easier on the GameCube version, but not much.
Yeah, I can't imagine it saving any time at all. You'd just be better off getting the sword and shield.
Right. Well, I sort of did this on my own, watched like all the videos that were there on YouTube, and eventually had to go to the Zelda chat room, the Zelda speedruns chat room, and say, here, help me out with this. That's just, and in the time that I saw that, I saw 3 other people saying, I want to run Twilight Princess, but how the hell do you do the sword and shield skip? So, I'm not alone with this.
Now you know how to do it.
Yeah, well, just because I know how to do it, doesn't mean I can do it consistently.
No.
This is the other major sequence break in this place. This is the early Master Sword. You know anything about Twilight Princess speedrunning, you know of the early Master Sword. By the way, there was a ton of tier collecting along the way that isn't really interesting, so I skipped it. Just cut it out. Effectively, the B attack can send you super high if you get in a specific angle, and we're gonna lure this Twilight creature, I think it's like, what is it?
Shadow Beast.
Shadow Beast. We're gonna lure him into a specific angle, so we're gonna jump up on this ledge. And at this point, I had been doing this trick for about 3 or 4 hours, and I finally got it, and every time you hear the audio cut out like that, that's just me pausing the Wii menu and checking on the video and seeing, okay, where do I need to go? Because if I accidentally jump in the wrong place, I have to do this all over again.
Yeah, I figured that's what you were doing.
Right. And if you see on the Shadow, you can actually see that we have the Shadow Grove on our minimap, and we've gotten to the Shadow Grove early.
You mean Sacred Grove?
I do mean Sacred Grove, sorry.
Well, it's a Shadow Grove now, so that works.
I forget, when you come here later, do you still have Twilight? I don't think so.
No.
Anyway, we're in the Sacred Grove now, and effectively what we're going to do is we're going to get in the Sacred Grove, and we're going to go get the Master Sword. We haven't completed any of the temples and got any of the collection items, but Zelda programming, it doesn't really matter, really. It just assumes that the sequences are set up in the correct amount of places, so you can only get to a place when you really need to.
I can imagine that being a kind of fail-safe.
Right.
Like, just in case you do get it in between the cracks of the game, it doesn't completely ruin it.
Right. I mean, I think there were several people, like, in other games, if you just get something early, it just won't work. It'll crash your game. And they did put in a few fail-safes, actually, in a few places, that will just try to railroad you back on the correct path, but, of course, we're glitch hunters, well, not me, but people are glitch hunters, and they can find their way past those fail-safes.
I'm blanking on the name, but, that cave from A Link to the Past, that was one of those.
Oh, you mean the one that said, I am the Christopher whoever?
Yeah, yeah.
That was, I believe it was any time that you just encountered a glitch that would cause, like, the game to normally crash, they stuck you in that room. It was actually a clever solution.
It was.
Right.
Like I'd know, I never played the game.
Here is the fastest solution that we know of to the Knight's puzzle. Really quickly. I did not come up with this. It's just right there on the page. It says, do left, do up, do right. And I'm sitting here going, okay.
This is a little gift from Suspicious Dish to you guys watching my LP, because how I did it was not this way.
Right. I don't know if you're going to speed that up or whatever.
I probably am.
Okay.
I did it the rubbish way. I did it without looking it up.
So anyway, we're getting the Master Sword early. While not particularly breakable, it does have the benefit that it does have a higher damage value, and that you can warp from Link to the wolf and back at any time. So we're in the Twilight, and we're in Link, and you can see that the HUD there is completely broken. With the boots and the B button just covered completely by the Twilight Tears thing.
It just doesn't know what to do.
It just doesn't, yeah. Again, I'm sort of glad it just doesn't crash, and you can actually see that Link does have this sort of bloom effect on him, so...
Yeah.
Anyway, to kill bugs, we actually do need to be in wolf form. And there you go, I restore the Twilight. So, the next thing we're gonna do? Forest Temple. I love that we have the iron boots and the Master Sword early. Just completely hilarious. Anyway, there you go.
It's like a game of which of these does not belong. You'll be here all day.
Anyway, while the Forest Temple doesn't have too many major sequence breaks, it does a lot of speed tricks and interesting things, so we'll see that next time.